And our next guest is a professor of marketing in the Mendoza College of Business, focused on innovation, new product development, and green marketing strategies. Mitch Olsen was a key player in bringing the bike-sharing program Lime Bike to Notre Dame and to South Bend, and he's here to talk about that now. Mitch, welcome to Notre Dame Day, and obviously it's all about the Lime Bike here, and I see you brought one for us, so give us kind of the Cliff Notes version of how this works.
I did. Well, first of all, thanks, Pete, for having me here. I'm very excited to be part of Notre Dame Day. And if it's been about 9 months or so since you've been to campus, you'll notice some distinct differences the next time that you arrive. Now, one of those that will be very difficult to miss is the fleet of roughly 2,000 neon green bikes located around campus as well as the greater South Bend area. And this is produced, operated, and maintained by a startup out of California called Lime Bike. Now, if you're familiar with bike sharing programs generally, you'll notice some differences already with this particular bike. Namely that it's locked, it's parked, but it's not attached to anything. You see, prior to Lime Bike in the U.S., virtually all bike sharing programs utilized a series of docking stations that made it so that you had to go to specific locations that may or may not be convenient for you. But Lime Bike is different in the fact that it is completely dockless. So you can retrieve the bikes and leave them wherever is a safe, convenient location for you. And it's very simple to use. So I'll show you right now. When you open up the app, the first screen that you're taken to is your location on a map in relation to a number of green lime icons that represent currently available bikes. And all you do is press the unlock button, scan the QR code on the back fender, and then it sends up a request to unlock, and we're ready to go. And so you hear that chime right there.
And you got a new bike.
That's right, and you have a new bike. You're ready to go, absolutely. And so there's a basket up front, LED lights that are powered as you pedal, a nice cell phone holder right here. And then the last thing I'd like to point out is the fact that the tires actually don't have air in them. They're filled with a hard foam-like substance, so it greatly reduces maintenance without sacrificing ride quality. And whenever you're done, I'd encourage people to find the nearest bike rack to park this at, and then not forget the important very last step, which is to take this red lever and lock the bike in place and wait for the chime right there that tells them their ride is officially over. And since this trip took less than 30 minutes, we'll only be charged $1, so it's $1 for every 30 minutes. But if you sign up with an active.edu email address, it's only 50 cents per 30 minutes.
Now, I know that several of your students kind of played an important role in helping bring this program to the area. Tell me about that, please.
Well, and what's obvious to me now that wasn't necessarily the case when the spring semester last year started is that whenever you're talking about bringing a new transportation system of any kind to an area, there is a wide variety of stakeholders that are interested in that ultimate decision. And I was very fortunate that all of those stakeholders really included my students in that discussion. I can't thank everybody now, there's not enough time, but I would especially like to thank Chris Dressel, who's a planner for the city of South Bend and in charge of bike share projects, and of course my students. They did a phenomenal job here and really proved themselves to be an incredibly capable and important voice in the conversation that ultimately brought us Lime Bikes.
It's such a great experience for the student, too, practical business experience. Tell me what the reaction has been like to this. These have been out for about a year now. What do people say about the Lime Bike?
Well, overall, I think it's been very positive. We see people using this for both recreational as well as commuting purposes, but then also for fill-in trips throughout the day. So you can imagine somebody who works downtown South Bend, they'll probably commute with a car, park in a garage, but during the day, if they have to travel about a half mile for a meeting or a lunch, that doesn't really justify getting your car, but it is the perfect type of trip for a Lime Bike. And also we see a number of students foregoing buying their own bike in favor of using Lime Bike.
Yeah, very frugal. Lastly, what are some of the challenges of this project and this enterprise at this point?
So a few challenges have emerged. Early on, we saw a couple of these end up in the St. Joseph River, but that was when the program was more of a novelty.
Yeah.
Now that people have become used to the program, that's become much less of an issue. And then the other issue going in was the winter weather in South Bend. How would these bikes hold up? And South Bend was a testing ground for Lime Bike to keep out the entire fleet throughout the winter. And all of these bikes were encased in snow, of course, on multiple occasions. But they came out on the other side with very little rust and proved to be very durable.
It gives us something green when the snow melts because the grass certainly isn't there.
That's right. That's right. We're getting there, though.
Well, Mitch, I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us here on Notre Dame Day. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Pete. Appreciate it.